Child, don't forget who you are. Don't lose your head or your heart. I bet my life on your stars. You'll be dancing, dancing on the moon.
Somehow I woke up out in Beverly, fucked up, smelling like that bourbon. And I end up alone, I'm not certain. Yeah, the girls impolite in the club every night. That's how it goes when you Hollywood perfect. Hollywood perfect. That's how it goes when you Hollywood perfect. Ain't got no place to call my own. Feels like I'm better off alone. So sad inside and hopeless. These Hollywood hoes never notice. Can't get back on. Girl, I miss you. Can't get back on. Girl, I miss you. Somehow I woke up out in Beverly, fucked up, smelling like that bourbon. And I end up alone, I'm not certain. Yeah, the girls impolite in the club every night. That's how it goes when you Hollywood perfect. Hollywood perfect. That's how it goes when you Hollywood perfect. Woke up out in Beverly, fucked up, smelling like that bourbon. How'd I end up alone? I'm not certain. Yeah, the girls impolite in the club every night. Somehow I woke up out in Beverly, fucked up, smelling like that bourbon. How'd I end up alone? I'm not certain. Yeah, the girls impolite in the club every night. That's how it goes when you're Hollywood perfect. Yeah, I'm on my way home. I'm no good for you, so I drive around Manhattan. They're all laughing, oh, I'm tragic. Yeah, I'm driving in my car and seeing open bar. I can't go down that road again. I'll smoke a cigarette, but will that help me forget you? Will that help me forget you? I just need to forget you. Oh, you. I need to treat you better than that and make you feel like I did in the past. Oh, I will treat you better than that. I don't need to forget you. I need to treat you better than that and make you feel like I did in the past. Oh, I will treat you better than that. I don't need to forget you.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to
What is going to be in another round of TTML Division 2. This one is a good one. It's the British Grand Prix, a very famed circuit across the entire Formula One world. It's where Formula One began here, and now we are still progressing then, over 70 years later, for the 6th round of the TTML D2 Championship here in Season 3. And of course, the championship took another turn last time out in Austria. And it's Scuba that moved to the front and extended that lead, pulling clear at the front. The Red Bull's coming to the fore early on, so we'll see how this goes then. But Scuba up front. The question is, though, is he going to be able to hold on to that lead? We've still got over half the season in front of us, and all can change now as we reach the halfway point here today. But yes, the championship still hanging up in the air. Scuba with that lead, but we'll see if that's going to get cut down. Full grid of drivers to take on that iconic circuit, James. Can't wait to get into it.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see out on track. An Irishman leading in Britain coming into tonight as well. Scuba leading the way on 113 points with Gary in second on 94 to an Irish 1-2 in the driver's standings. Matt Tibos in third on 84 with Caladre in fourth on 82. Jorgen fifth on 70. Alonso in sixth on 59. B. Morgan in seventh on 56. Sway in eighth on 53. Lemon in ninth on 49. And Noisy also tied for ninth on 49 points. We are getting started very early here, and I'm totally unprepared for this early start that we are getting, but we're going to be getting the action underway very shortly indeed here in Britain. We'll run you through the rest of the standings after we do the track intro. So we are about to get ready, and the countdown now has reached 0, and we're about to get going in towards qualifying here at Silverstone. And it's going to be fascinating to see how this race is going to unfold out on track, and it's going to be fascinating to see a full grid of drivers out on track as well. So without further ado, let us get started. Let us go into qualifying. Well then, we are here for TTML Division 2. We are here for round 6 of the championship as we take in the British Grand Prix from the Silverstone International Circuit in Season 3 of TTML. 3 compound tyres available for the guys out on track tonight. There's the soft, mediums and the hards, the C1, C2 and C3 compound of tyre. And you'd be familiar to go with the softs and the mediums around here. Anybody that goes onto a set of hards will be struggling towards the end of the race, certainly on those tyres. My name is James Head, Daniel Hogarth taking you through, of course, the stream as well as co-coms as we now come into the track map. 5.8 kilometres and then takes them around 18 turns with 2 DRS zones, 1 down the Wellington Straight, 1 down the Hanger Straight, down in towards turn 15 at Stowe. It is quite undulating. It's the only track as well that borders through 2 counties here in the UK, Northamptonshire and Buckinghamshire, and we're about to get going. And unlike last night in TTML where we had overcast conditions, it is dry and it's blue sky and sunshine, and this is something we never see in Britain.
It's seamless, perfect conditions here for qualifying. It's going to give these drivers the capabilities that they need to put in the best lap times they possibly can. 20 drivers ready to take on this 18-corner phenomenal racing circuit. So we'll see how this is going to unfold. Low tire deck around here, so expect that the vast majority, if not all the drivers, to be going for the softs from very early on in the session, as we do have, I think Cam is the first driver out on track in the Haas, and eat my words, he's gone out on mediums. Well, there you go. But the Haas driver out there on the C2 tyres, of course, hardest compounds of tyres around here, but tire deck is going to be quite low for the race, so strategy relatively straightforward around here at Cam first out there. And qualifying around here, despite it being not the most difficult track to overtake, as always, qualifying very, very important for just the nature of racing on this game. DRS trades, as I'm sure you probably heard from literally every broadcast you've ever watched around Silverstone. DRS trades can build up around here. Racing very close, no doubt, but certainly you want to be up the front of the train rather than down the back, where the overtaking is much easier and you can get moves done a lot more quickly, because if you're at the back of the train, you're going to have a really long day ahead of you.
Yeah, I'm commentating on the league race around here. The league will remain unnamed tonight, as I don't want people doing a shot game on the channel. But Cam on a set of medium compounded tyres, and that was 12 seconds, I think, separating the whole field towards the end of the race in that race. Cam, though, is going to begin us on a lap. He's on a set of medium compounded tyres, so he is now coming through Vale and in towards Club, and let's go on board with the Haasman as he now comes through the final couple of corners. Through Vale, and then through Club Corner at turn 18, and now across the start-finish straight down in towards Albion Farm at turns 1 and 2, already reaching in excess of 307 kilometres an hour, coming through turn 1 and 2 at Farm and at Albion Farm, and then in towards the village section at turn 3, and then into the loop. This 90-degree left-hander, which can really catch the cars on exit, and a little bit of squirreling there from Cam as he now comes through Aintree Corner and runs onto the Wellington Straight, where of course the Grand Prix track pulsed with the international track, and that's where the two tracks split apart. Through the first sector to 27.1 through the first sector from Cam, so it's not looking too bad at this stage. He's the fastest man in the session so far, with nobody coming through that first sector split just yet. Now through Woodcut and on the run down towards the old turn 1 at Cops, down the old pit straight down towards Cops, and now this takes it flat out through, actually down the gear, down to 7th, up into 8th gear now as he comes in towards Maggots and Beckett, and then at the end of this he'll approach Chapel and onto the run to the Hanger Straight and flies through there. Very quick middle sector so far from Cam, looking like it's a 1:1.996 on my end. On TAS it's a 34.8 through the middle sector. Now down in towards Stowe, there's a car just ahead of him, out on track by a few seconds, but now Cam through Stowe, and on the run towards Vale and Club, that is a Mercedes getting out of the way to the right hand side, and now the Haas comes through the final couple of corners. Cam on a really good lap here, through 16, through 17, and now through Club Corner at turn 18, that is a lap of Silverstone, and Cam sets a 1:25 flat to begin us off.
Yeah, decent enough lap. Of course, the medium tyres on will not be getting the most grip, so expect some faster times to come in throughout the remainder of the first part of the session. We've already got them in. Paul Hogan jumps to the top there, 1:24.3. XL Roy popping in behind there at 24.5. You're going to see the lap times coming in thick and fast. Everyone looking to try and get that upper hand early on in the session. Let's see what some of the rest of the drivers have to offer. Next up over the line is B. Morgan and that Renault. Gary out to the top of the time sheet at a 24.2. B. Morgan on a 24.7. Sanzu's done a really good lap then. First time I've seen that driver in action, going right in the mix, and all those medium tyres. Really, really impressive stuff out there. I'm not sure what you've clocked there, James. What's going on?
His lap time at 24.6 on a set of mediums. That is mad.
That's phenomenal, James. We'll see if he's really announced himself to this division early on then. So we'll see if he can continue to pump in the laps. You see Scuba, the championship leader, who has set time for me. He's not even gone over the line for me now. There he goes. I'm not sure if you're seeing the same as me, but he does come through on a 24.9. 2 and a bit 10 slower then. So Sanzu looks so impressive. He's easily got the beating of the championship leader at the moment. As Wesker goes to the fastest there. 600's clear.
Yeah, 24.2 on that lap. Gary second, AJ in third. We said just before commentary came live, Wesker and Scuba would be such a good battle to see out on track, because these guys showed the old guard essentially in TTML in Season 1 and really fought for the Division 2 title back then. But Wesker out on top, Gary in second, AJ in third. I think Caladre has just gone up into 6th position in the AlphaTauri. All of the guys pretty much done their laps. Lemon, Isotopic and Alonso still yet to set a lap time. But yeah, you're on about Scuba. There he is down in 16th position on a set of medium compounded tyres. And the newcomer Sansu was more than 2.5 tenths clear of him. Did he really not get a good lap in, or is just Sansu very, very quick?
I guess we're going to see more evidence later on in the session as to which of the options it's going to be, the former or the latter. But nevertheless, Sansu is so impressive. It's only 4 and a bit tenths off pole position on a tyre compound, which I'd say is a bigger margin. Slower than that. I'm not exactly sure how it all comes together. Scuba is still out there, but he's certainly not pushing on this lap, and so he's going to have to go back to the drawing board as the Red Bull driver. But the Racing Point really coming alive here. I think we're in that down period in the session. Still got some drivers to come through on their own out laps now, I believe. Then I think that LMN is the... actually, no, my apologies. It's going to be Isotopic that's the furthest along. I'm not sure if anyone's on flying laps. Don't think they are, so it's a bit of a quiet stage of the session. But Wesker prevailing on the first run, 600's clear of Gary, second place. But the real story is the man in 13th place. Can he push up then? Wesker's going to have trouble in his hands, you'd suspect, maintaining that P1. Great lap to open up. The Ferrari man is going to have his work cut out to hold on to it for the last 2/3 of this session.
Yeah, let's see how his teammate gets on as well. OWR Isotopic now coming around the final couple of corners through Vale and into Club. He's on an out lap and now he's going to begin his flying lap of the circuit here at Silverstone. Comes out the final corner and now runs down in towards turn 1. Wesker currently out on top, as you say. Gary in second and AJ in third. So the big boys right up at the top as Ryan comes out the pit lane just the right hand side. Isotopic now coming through turn 3 into Village and then in towards turn 4 at the loop. Got to get the car very much control going through this corner. We saw with Cam just lose it a little bit on the exit, and now through entry, where of course the Grand Prix used to be held for a couple of years before it got turned into the racing track, of course got turned into the race course at entry in Liverpool. 26.9 through the first sector for Isotopic on its other top compound tyres. It's not too quick in the first sector. It is a personal best through the first sector, in fact, as he now comes through down in towards Woodcote through turn 8 and then through turn on at Cops. It's not a bad lap so far. We've got Matt Tibos, Ryan and Carson and the likes of, as well as Cam, Alonso and Lemon all on lap times at this stage, but Isotopic now approaching Maggots and Beckett's. Let's see what he can do. The Norwegian flies through Maggots, then through Beckett's, gets caught on the inside curb slightly, now through Chapel, and then on towards the Hanger Straight, opens up that second DRS on a 1.4 through the middle sector, 34.4. In the middle sector for Isotopic as now he approaches Stowe and now runs pretty much flat out from this point onwards toward the line, as we now see the back out camera shot from this as Isotopic now comes in towards 16 and then through 17 and 18. That is another lap of Silverstone. 10 minutes go at 8 minutes gone in qualifying. Isotopic comes across the line and it's a really good lap and he goes second. I wasn't expecting him to be anywhere near the top. Isotopic goes second and it's a Ferrari 1-2. Who would have expected Ferrari to be 1-2?
That was it. I tell you what, that came all in the last sector. He was quicker, fastest of anyone then, and going straight to the top. And Isotopic making a statement. Both the Ferrari drivers right up there. Element and the AlphaTauri is behind it. How's the pace of the first 2 sectors? He was pretty quick. We'll see what he can do. They're coming up to the line from the back. He goes up to pole. He's not going up on my he's not going up on my board. He was invalid actually, yes, but he would have tied that. Now Wesker's no longer purple for me, so this is very confusing. I don't know if he's valid or invalid, but Element settling in then. He's put in a lap time that is good enough for pole position, I can tell you, by 0.04 of a second, but he's still at the bottom of my board. It's not come up saying he's invalidated. Now Cam's out the session, it has come out of Chapel.
It is coming out of Chapel, and that's the first man tonight where he's gone out of Chapel. Matt Tibos, I think, has just improved up to a 24.3. I'm not sure if he's actually on a lap. There's quite a few drivers within the 24.2s, 24.3 mark, and actually Matt Tibos through the first sector is on a lap. So Wesker out on top, Isotopic second, Gary in third, halfway through qualifying if you are just tuning in. LMN, he invalidated, I think, coming through Club at the final corner, either on the inside or on the exit of the curb. It picked up an invalidation just before the line, and that is where he picked up the invalidation. Unless we've got a bit of a glitch lobby going on. Matt Tibos now coming through Maggots and Beckett's. Let's see what the Red Bull is doing out on track. Through the first sector, he was pretty quick. It was a 26.763. Now through the middle sector, well, it's a 34.3. Yeah, it's really, really quick for Matt Tibos. So he's going to try and improve at least 0.2 of a second to try and get to provisional pole position so far. We could even see a 23 towards the end of the night as well. But Matt Tibos now coming in towards the final couple of corners through Vale and into Club, and now comes across the line. I think this might be third or fourth. Comes across the line, he goes second with a 24.248, and I'm not sure if it's shown on your screen, but that's shown as a purple lap for me.
Yeah, I've seen the exact same then. I think it bugged out when Element set his invalid lap time. It took it away from Wesker. Now Matt Tibos has inherited it. This is very confusing. I'm not exactly sure what's going on out there on the track. It's Santu. Well, we saw that one coming straight to the top. York, though, goes even faster on a 1:24.1 storming lap. And going up there, the Strava is now cracking the 24.1s out there on the circuit. And finally, I think the purple lap time's back in the right hands. I'm not sure what you're seeing. Is that Sway maybe? Gary actually further down the road then. Currently P6 at the moment. And the Williams flying through that middle centre. He finds a bit more time. He might be able to slot himself onto pole position. Sway improves, goes P5. Decent enough lap from the Mercedes. Now the Williams driver. How's the exit? He punches off Bale to the line. Then Yorgo occupies pole position. Gary can't quite snatch it away. He was right in the mix and just lost a bit of time in that last sector. Held it back. Collider has also improved. He goes up to the third place, and we have the top four separated by less than a tenth of a second. Incredibly tight up there. York, though, crushing lap to go to the top. It's incredibly close, though. It is anyone's game. Wesker down in 5th. Will have some time to improve. Comes over the line, improves, but not enough. And just couldn't quite hook the lap up. It's incredibly competitive. The Red Bulls are there as well. It's so close here at Silverstone. It's less than 2/10 between the top 11, James. This is remarkable.
It really is, and top 12 actually separated by 0.3 of a second as well, just under. So Noisy is on a good lap here as well, as he now comes through the middle sector split, and Noisy on a lap. 35.5 actually in the middle sector, so actually I think we've caught him on a bit of a down lap here as opposed to an in lap, and yeah, he's just invalidated coming through Stowe, so Noisy is done. Not sure if Vettel is actually on a lap time. He's coming into the pit lane. Alonso is on a lap time now, coming through Maggots and Beckett's, and he is normally the bottler in qualifying. If I've got to be honest, he never gets a good lap in qualifying. Is this it? Purple in the middle sector on my screen, 34.4. It's not overly quick through the middle sector though from Alonso, and be hoping the German can actually really spring a surprise up towards the top half of the standings here with 5 minutes and 40 seconds to go in qualifying. Jorgen top, Sansu in 2nd, Caladre in 3rd, Gary 4th, and Wesker filling out the top 5. Here comes Alonso. Where is this time going to put him? It comes across the line, and it goes 6th, just behind Wesker by 0.009 of a second separating. Alonso goes 6th, and look at the top 6, separated by less than 1/10 of a second. It is so close here in qualifying.
That is nothing short of incredible. But we still have a lot more to go then. We have a lot more lap times to come in. Isotopic in a Ferrari has just kicked off another flying lap. And the time that was good enough for the front row earlier on, as I saw a car stuck there at turn 1. I think that's Scuba, who's jumping around the track a little bit. There's a bit of lag there, unfortunately, for the championship leader. But we'll still keep track of Isotopic now as he powers out of the loop, then heading on to the Wellington Straight, completely flat out then, opening up that DRS, and then heading down that Wellington Straight. Was the first section like for the Ferrari driver? It's quick, it's 600 something, or just a 26.789 early on. We'll see when he can continue going. He's running a little bit wide then, heading through Luffield, picks up the throttle early, and then getting on that throttle yet again, and getting up to high speed, heading in to the most spectacular section of track maybe on any circuit on the calendar. First up, that starts for Copse, completely flat out, over 300 k's an hour all the way through, now heading into the iconic famed Vegas and travel section then, through the S section. You dare take as much apex speed as possible, running up to the grass on the exit. Middle sector time, it's an aggregate of 101.1. The middle sector is pretty good as well, so we'll see if he can continue to build on this. Is it going to be enough? It was a purple middle sector, so let's see if he can continue to push on then. Can he challenge the pole positions time? Ryan goes P3, backing up his teammate for the night then, so he puts himself onto that second row. Isotopic now, bit of issues with traction coming off of Vale. Is that going to cost him? I think it might have just done. He has to settle for 8th place. He does jump the Red Bulls, but can't go any higher. And then goes to the top on a sensational 124 flat, and the lap times come flying in. Element to the top then, a massive lap. And then the question is, can anyone top that as we reach the final 3 minutes of the session? It's anyone's game still.
B. Morgan's improving on a lap time as well. He's down in the middle sector by about 2/10 on Isotopic, so he's going to be a limited improvement. And in fact, he runs wide and he comes into the pit lane. And that is so unfortunate for B. Morgan as he runs wide and now comes into the pit lane. I was going to say bottles it into the pit lane, but he really doesn't do that. I think Ryan is on a down lap. LMN is on a down lap. The only man that is actually on an out lap is Vettel. So let's ride on both them with 3 minutes to go in the session as he now comes through the final corner. Vettel, of course, had a really good result in with TTG Esports, of course, getting a 1-2. Can they back up that here tonight with Vettel? Coming through turn 1 and 2. Looks like he's going quite slow coming through Abbey and Farm. I'm not sure if he's a little bit desynced on my screen, or if he's just controlling the car very nicely indeed. We'll monitor this as he now comes through entry and onto the Wellington Straight.
Yeah, I'm keeping track of that lap time. We'll see what the first sector is like for the McLaren driver that crosses. It is pretty quick. It's a 26.7. So he is seemingly on the pace then. We'll see if the McLaren can continue to build on that then. Coming up with 2 minutes to go. A lot of drivers exiting the pit lane for the final time then. It is all or nothing. Everyone needs to get the best laps in they possibly can, with the pressure mounting to insurmountable levels. Let's see how the remainder of the qualifying session's going to go. LMN occupies pole position, but there's going to be a full field of drivers looking to try and hunt him down and snatch that position away from him then. First on the list, TTG Vettel coming out now through Chapel. How's the middle sector? It's pretty quick. He's 3/10 off at his time. It's not bad, but it's ultimately, you'll see if he can try and push himself up there a little bit further. Now to the last sector, then flying it into Stowe. Got to be brave and bold through the apex then, using as much of the track as he possibly can. Onto the brakes again for Phil. Long start, runs a little bit wide in. It's going to compromise his exit a tiny bit. Gets nice traction though. Off the last corner to the left. It goes 13th then. And look at this. It's a 0.2 and it's only good enough for 13th. This is a remarkably close session. A lot more lap times to come in now. Everyone going to fly out. There are a lot of drivers on out laps preparing for it. This is it then. This is all or nothing. Everything on the line now. Gary, I think, burst up then. The Irishman out there. He needs a big lap to get himself right back in that championship fight.
It's Carson actually coming across the line. So Carson, the Canadian for side Max, coming across the line to start off on a lap. And let's see what he can do as that. Just coming out to the right-hand side is somebody coming very late out the pit lane. That is an AlphaTauri. There's a spinner, though. Racing Point just getting out of the way in the first sector. There's a Mercedes off in the final sector as well. I think that might have been Cowboy or Sway on and out that, but we're on board with Carson. Let's see what the Canadian can do out on track. He now comes down the Wellington Straight, coming through the first sector split, currently 18th in position, and his first sector's not too bad, 26.8 through the first sector as he runs wide, coming through Brooklands, then into the field, and he picks up an invalid lap. So that is such a shame for Carson. He nearly ends up spinning the car. That car looks very, very violent in terms of the speed setup that he might have on. I think he's gone for speed rather than the balance out on track, and it's important to have very good downforce around this track as well. I think next up is Noisy coming through the first sector now. He sets a first sector time of a 26.7, so it's actually not too bad through the first sector from Noisy. There or thereabouts, Element on top, Jorgen second, Sansu in third, but Noisy will be the next to come across the line as we now tick down the seconds to the end of qualifying.
So Noisy now, putting it all on the line. You can see there a couple of drivers unable to quite make the cut for the final laps in qualifying, and that is going to be it for their session. So Noisy now, powering through, middle part of the lap then, adamant to get the ace, and coming over Champo early on the throttle as he can then, the middle sector, it's pretty quick, it's purple, and he is flying. Can Noisy snatch it? Last minute then, coming now into Stowe. How is the last ending going to be? Maximum commitment on the entry, running it out wide on the exit now, continuing that charge towards the field. Club Chicane getting onto the brakes and hooking the curb on the inside lane, back on the outside now for the club corner, now to the lane. He's currently occupied 17, jumps up to P2, and just shy of pole. He was just denied. Sansu was trying to won a lap, a 1:23.8. That is phenomenal, remarkable. Yard goes P2 then, occupying that spot. We got more lap times to close out the session. Improvement, I think that was, I'm not sure who jumped up the order then.
Sway.
I think we saw Sway going up to second. Wow, Sway getting onto the front row. Cowboy as well, put in a good lap then. He goes onto that third row, right in the mix then, NP6. We're running out of time in the session. Scuba, late improvement, goes second. That is critical. I think that is going to be it. Scuba with the last ditch ever to get through. Sansu, what about that? A 23.8, that is simply phenomenal. I think I would have been not far off D1 pole time then. That is incredible. Sansu, a heavy favourite now going into the Grand Prix.
Let's just put this into perspective. He's just beaten the championship leader in qualifying by more than 0.2 of a second. He has got that gap between first and second. Second down to what? Down to 13th is separated by that gap. Best of everyone so far. Is he a Division 1 driver? Let's find out.
I think there may well be a little bit of controversy about that, because that is storming. Simply sensational. 23.8. I'm struggling to get over that. Scuba does get second place though, and from second to sixth is less than 0.04 of a second, 35 thousandths of a second covering those drivers. And Scuba, Sway, York, Element, and Noisy. Bit of a gap down. I say a bit of a gap, it's half a 10 to Corpoy, Ryan, Kalidra, and Wesker rounding out the top 10. I think the Ferraris after their early session start would have been disappointed. Matt Tibos outside the top 10, so is Gary. And so those guys could have to fight back. Alonso down in 13th, Isotopic, Vettel, AJU, Volokogin, Morgan, Carson. Cam did get a bit big lap time, and we actually saw Cam in the chat saying that he set a purple lap time at one point, was invalid, and then he had to bow out early in the session. And so that is it for qualifying, and I think the question on everyone's lips out ahead of this race, can anyone stop Sansu? Is that qualifying going to translate over to the race?
This is his first race of the season, and it makes it even more remarkable that he's just shown Scuba up like that by just over 0.2 of a second out on track, and it's just fantastic to see. Let's have a look though at this track in question as I get back into my share play that I'm commentating from through Tom, of course, and the track in question, Silverstone, C1, C2, C3 compounder tyres, 5.8 kilometres circuit, 26 laps awaiting the drivers out on track. Again, bone dry, blue sky and sunshine, I'm very glad to report as well. And it's going to be fascinating in terms of seeing how this race is going to unfold out on track. The air temperature is 22 degrees, track temperature of 30 degrees Celsius as well. Never known 30 degrees Celsius to be at Silverstone for many, many years, if I've got to be honest, in the sim racing mold at least. But we are going to get going very shortly indeed for the formation lap. You have got the best seats in the house. This is your final chance to make a cup of tea, to maybe support your drivers in the chat, and to really let loose and just sit back, relax, and enjoy the action.
That is what we're here for, then let's get into it. And, well, we now set forward formation lap, 26 laps in front of us, and what will surely be another spectacular race here at TTML D2. I think I know what's prompted that reaction, James. Let's run through what we have for strategies outside the top 10, because we have a very intriguing mix here. Medium tyre, the majority then. Alonso, Isotopic, Vettel, B. Morgan, Carson and Cam all opting for the yellow wall tyres. Matibos, Gary and Volakongan going for these softs. But I think the real standout there, AJU, hard tyres then, at a low-deck circuit. That is a massive gamble. He'll be very safe on tyres to the end, but it's not worth it. He's going to be giving up a huge amount of grip at the start of this race.
He will lose all of those positions behind him, I think, at the start of this race, because Volakongan's on a set of softs, and the set of softs around here is something like 1.2, 1.3 seconds quicker than the set of hards just in front of him out on track. So Volakongan will be hoping, and the likes of B. Morgan, Carson and Cam as well, they'll be hoping to try and get past AJ very early on indeed out on track. So it's going to be fascinating in that regard. And of course, we are crossing two counties in this track as well, Northamptonshire and Buckinghamshire. Tyre, like you say, is quite low. I think the set of soft compounder tyres can last for about lap 7 or 8 before they begin to pit in. And then on Tresella mediums, last for about the halfway stage, just after the halfway stage. And AJ will be hoping to go to about lap 2021, I think, possibly on those tyres to try and get 6 or 7 laps out the end on a set of softs. It's going to be flying if he tries the one stop, but anybody that commits on those tyres, honestly, you're going to have a very, very long night.
Yes, certainly, and well, of course, they are long-lasting tyres, that is something, but certainly unless you get a well-timed safety car, it could well work against you. Satsu getting the route to the grid, and I think the clean side of the grid is a bigger advantage here than it is at most other tracks. There's a short run into turn 1 as well, so the Finn may well be able to hold on to that lead. Scuba will give it all he's got though to try and fly through. He snatched the race win last time out. We'll see what he can do now here as they run to the grid. Satsu will take that spot at the front end. Scuba alongside him. Sway, one of his best qualifyings in a while. Bit of a mix-up grid here. The close margins made this grid so unpredictable, and now we're going to see them go to war in the race. And Satsu pole position. Now the question is, over 26 laps, can he hold on to it? Scuba's going to give it everything he's got, but he's out of position on the grid for me.
And there is the run down in towards turn 1. Hopefully we're not going to get a bit of a lobby glitch here out on track. But the 5 red lights are on. Sansu is going to get us underway. Round 6 of Division 2 about to get us underway. And it's lights down, away we go. And Sansu gets a very good start. Scuba as well. And Scuba's going to have the run down in towards turn 1. Sansu on the outside line. Scuba on the inside line through Abbey. Then through Farman. Scuba's through. Into the lead of the race he goes. Sway down to 3rd. But Scuba leads. Sansu's going to dive it down the inside though. In towards turn 3 at Village. Doesn't pay it off. Really clean in the background. I think Mercedes going wide. There was Callboy making up positions. But Scuba leads the way. Sansu 2nd. Sway in 3rd. Element in 4th. Yorga's had a disastrous start in 5th. Callboy has had a spin with Ryan. They've been caught up in a collision just in the background. They've shot both on the wall. Both have damage as well, I think, as well with that damage. But Scuba leading the way. Sansu in 2nd. Sway in 3rd. Yellow flags in section 1 and 2. Ryan and Callboy just got caught up in each other. I think further down the field there was a bit of skirmishing. Isotopics just also positioned to Alonso as well. And Ryan and Callboy right down in 19th and 20th position out on track. AJ's lost a few positions, but Scuba, championship leader, has got Sansu off the line. 1 lap pace is everything, but the race is a different kettle of fish.
What I must say, James, is that Scuba, in my view, is in 20th place. He just dropped like a stone to the field. So, yeah, I think there's a There's a lag issue from, I think, both of us, so I can't really, there's a desync, so I can't really comment on his position, but from your view, he leads the race, so he's done a fantastic job, Satsu. P2, the all run in that lane further behind there. We're going to see there's any moves there. Wesker, I saw, was looking at Matsu a bit further down the field. That one didn't quite come off. Kogan didn't get away too well. He's got a lunge from Cam inside lane. He comes together with Vettel. Very brave for the Haas. Doesn't quite come through then. And then wide again he goes, and then Carson to the inside line. Is going to squeeze through. On Cam, who drops back forward. Kogan now over the long side looking through it. A turn one in Abbey. Can he sweep on the inside line? They're going to wheel to wheel and off the track. Off through the cross. Goes the Haas. They come together. There's a Constantine. I think P. Morgan got caught up in that one. Round goes the Renault. Spearing off the track. He emerges now behind P. Morgan. Chaos ensuing here on the opening lap. XL Rise had to go in for a wing change. Santu still leads the race, and I'm guessing Scuba's up there as he's now just coming through the loop for me, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on. Santu from Sway there at the front end. The soft tire train very much intact then, heading throughout, relatively undramatic start. They've been Ryan losing out, and he's got an awful long day ahead of him now.
Good job, Dan's not streaming, to be honest, on his end, because Scuba does lead the way. It's about 4/10 the gap. Out on track from Sansu in second, Sway in third, Element in fourth, Jorgen fifth. That's a look at the early position gains as well out on track. So it's going to be fascinating to see how those position gains have changed. And look at that, 5 positions gained for Carson and Cam further down the field. 1 position gain, of course, for Scuba, getting the run down and towards turn 1 at Abbey, getting the move done. And Scuba does lead the way from Sansu in second. Ryan picked up a 5-second penalty as well, ball speeding into the pit lane, and he's the only one that has made a stop onto a set of hard compounded tyres. I think it's impossible possibly to try and get 25 laps out of those tyres, but we'll have to wait and see if he can towards the end of the race. Santu sets the new fastest lap of the race, was quicker than Scuba last time around. It's still 5/10 the gap out on track, and the Red Bull leads from the racing point. Sway in third, Element in fourth. But now, let the DRS train ensue as Gary is right on the back of Caladra running into Village.
Yeah, he's got that all lined up, but can't quite get through there. The inside line covered by the AlphaTauri into the loop that couldn't quite get through. Now the traction is out of it off for this turn, but you can see the guys all settling into the lane. Matthew Moss looking a little bit threatening behind Gary. That one doesn't quite come off either, and overtaking is going to be difficult in a train like this. Cam, though, further down the order, looking at Carson and diving down the inside daringly into Brooklyn's, running him out wide, and Carson still fighting for the inside line. Gets up and alongside the Haas and looking for the exit. Cam is round the outside and gets the place and snatching it from the Canadian who couldn't quite hold it back. Head into Cox, he is closing it back down, but will not quite go for the overtake. We'll set it behind. And further up, Gary's gone off. Gary out of Cox then. Did he spin on his own? Did he come together with another car? Then Gary off then. And this is big news for the championship with Scuba up front now. Gary dropping back. This could really extend Scuba's lead then. Gary's completely out of it then. I think he's got damage on that car as well. The Williams driver dropping out back. Disaster for XL Gary here on the third lap.
I think he got caught on the outside curb coming out of Cops and went spearing off. Right side end plate damage on that car would suffice that. Scuba though leading, but Sansu is right on the money now. Right in behind him, 3.5 of a second as we come across the line to start lap 4 out of 26 here at Silverstone. Scuba leading from Sansu second, Sway in third, Element fourth, Jorgen fifth, Noisy sixth. The 2 Alfa Romeos are running quite well in 5th and 6th there. Volakongan sets the new fastest lap of the race. Gary into the pit lane to repair his damage. Gary and Ryan, it's not really been an excelling day out on track for them out there, but Scuba leading, Sansu second, Sway in third. I better mess up my words more because that pun was terrible.
I'm watching Sansu attacking Scuba. I'm not sure I saw him going a bit off the line. I literally cannot commentate over this at all. I cannot see Scuba's car. But I think the Sansu was looking at it, couldn't quite get into the race lead though. They still run any relative formation, then holding that DRS train. And the medium runners are keeping up with this, they're keeping pace. And the DRS train is very difficult to break. It's Alonso leading the line here, so Alonso in 10th place, not 9th on my screen. He's going to be running up pretty strongly, and of course these guys, what they will have to look out for is the undercut that these guys are going to have to run on the soft tires to be able to gain an advantage. But to the end of the race, these medium runners, if they can stick in the train, stick with it, they're going to have a really good shot of getting away, because at the moment looks like there's no chance of them dropping back as it stands.
There isn't, because they're all embedded within that DRS train out on track. Alonso all the way down to Carson, all on a set of mediums, all within this DRS train. B. Morgan has that Volakongan through. B. Morgan has got slight damage on the right side end plate, 6% of damage on that car. But Scuba leading from Sansu in second. Wesker now setting the new fastest lap of the race, and that's what the DRS train does around here. He set fastest lap after fastest lap after fastest lap. Scuba, though, under pressure from Sansu, looking at the tyres out on track as well. Sway, who's apparently in second on my screen, that is definitely not the case. Scuba leading Sansu in second, Sway in third. Sansu has got 28% worth of tyres. Scuba's got 30 on that front left, and it's very interesting to see. We saw it down towards Stowe. Cam has got through on Vettel in the meantime for 12th. Sansu was just going out of Scuba's slipstream. Volakongan now through on AJ further down the field as well. But Sansu was just going out of the slipstream of Scuba. And that's so interesting, because you would expect him to try and go for the move early on in this stage. I think he's just there to put the guy in front just under pressure.
Yeah, that certainly seems to be the aim that tried to maybe force a mistake, but Scuba, as a try to test the driver, will not quite be going for that, I don't think. But Sansu still chasing him down at the moment as it stands out on track. Then I'm wondering if we're going to see any further battles on the train then. I think I'm seeing Volakongan in front of AGU further down the field. Of course, with that wing damage, is going to have to try and make the most of it. It's very slight, but that does add up over time. Looks like everyone is just content to sit here, and overtaking, I think, is going to be few and far between in this race as it stands in. The 12 Romeos running quite well for the second week running. They're in this leading fight, have a fighting chance of moving forward later on in the day. Sansu trying to chase down Scuba, still out there. The gap, I can get the updates over the line. It's 0.4 of a second as it stands now, but Scuba's still up front. We've got the top 9 pretty clear, but you can see Alonso, he is glued to the rear wing of Wesker. That gap's not opening up. The Haas driver is here to stay. By extension, all the medium runners, right? They've got a free ticket here. They're going to be massive threats at the end of this race.
Yeah, we're going to see, I think, the switch as well, very soon indeed, where the mediums are going to be quicker than the set of softs out on track. So Alonso and Isotopic and Cam will be carving their way through the field and carving their way through these soft runners when they decide to come into the pit lane, which should be from about this point onwards, I think, out on track. Scuba leading from Sansu second, Sway in third. You can get about 19 or 20 laps out on a set of mediums because of the low degradation around the circuit. I just thought I'd mention as well, Ryan on a set of hard compounded tyres, he came in for damage for a pair of front wing on lap 1. He's 6 seconds ahead of Gary, so Gary really affected by that spin through Stowe, and it was cost him 6-7 seconds nearly. He is catching back up, of course, on that compounded tyre. Sansu, though, is still on the back of Scuba and is trying to fight for the lead of this race. To be honest, if I was in Sansu's position, I'd begin to put Scuba under even more pressure, because the pit lane, the pit window is going to open very soon indeed out on track. If I was Sansu, I'd try and go for the move for the lead.
Yeah, if there is a car to overtake indeed, but yes, he's got almost 100% battery as well. He's got the capabilities. I think he's just been holding back for the moment and having Scuba right in front of him. Sway behind, conversely, is actually struggling a little bit more, used a lot more of the battery. But one thing to mention with Sansu, he does have 2 warnings as Cam picks up a penalty in the midfield, and so he is going to have to watch out for that then. I'm seeing Sansu, he is on the overtake now. He's chasing down a car there, but I don't think he's going for the move just yet into Brooklyn's Element trying to threaten Sway. I think Sway is struggling more than most to keep with the pace, and he's struggling to hold on to that DRS. He needs a big middle sector here. The top 2 cannot afford to get away. Sway holding down P2, but he's going to really work here. Element is fully poised to take advantage. Sway had a great qualify, great start to the race, but if he's not careful, he's going to drop back, and that's going to give the top 2 a great opportunity to pull clear.
Oh, AJ's just forced Volakongan off into the gravel coming through left field. That was so bad, I think, from AJ's perspective. He had the car in front. I think he just shut the door, essentially. Didn't realise Volakongan was there, and now he's down into 18th position. Has lost 2 positions as a result. Well, 3 positions, including the loss of position to AJ. The Morgan 16, Callboy 17, Volakongan and 18. Sansu, though, leading. Sansu on the back of Scuba, I should say. He's not leading out on track. He's leading on your screen, Dan, but he's not leading on my screen, as Alonso is through on Wesker, and now we begin to see the early pit stops being made, and Wesker has actually let through Alonso. Into the pit lane comes Sway, though, from, I think it was 4th position.
Yes, Sway going in early then. We'll see what he can make of that then. That does open up a bit of a gap to Element, who does have a penalty to his name now. He is going to maybe have to work really hard to get back within that range. Sway taking about as much out of the tires as pretty much anyone else, so he's going in very early and looking to try and maybe grab a bit of an undercut on some of the drivers around then, and so that is going to isolate this top 2, and Element having to work to get back within that range. And look, it looks like everyone else is content to just sit there and hold station, but it's Wesker who looks to be struggling then in terms of the pace. He is dropping back quite a little bit right now. He's got more worn tires than most of these guys. He's going to have to really work, and his teammate Isotopic coming up behind him, and now Alonso isolating himself against these on medium runners, getting up towards that leading train. He's driving so well so far, Alonso. He could be on yet again for challenging for the podium for the 3rd race running. Is he gonna last get it this time though? He was denied in Baku, he was denied in Austria. Let's see if this one's going to finally come good for ASC Alonso. Expect a busy pit lane at the end of this lap though. Sansu, Scuba, they're going to look to try and get in early, and Element struggling to keep up. Looks like these top 2 have the race pace over the rest of the field at the moment then. Heading now towards the pit lane. Sansu stays out. What's Scuba done, James?
Yep, Scuba stays out, Sansu stays out as well, and LMN into the pit lane, Jorgen into the pit lane, Caladra into the pit lane. I was going to pick up on Caladra actually before he came into the pit lane. He was making really good ground on the back of the 2 Alfa Romeos just in front of him, or one at least coming into the pit lane. Jorgen and Noisy out on track. Watch out for him later on in the race, because he is going to be pretty quick, I think, on these sort of mediums towards the end of this race. But now Sansu has got to do the dirty on Scuba. This is his opportunity to shine. This is his opportunity to get the race lead out on track. But he's 0.5 of a second away coming out of entry. He is waiting. He's got 84% of ERS out on track. 37% for Scuba in front. It is double the amount Scuba has. And it's absolutely unbelievable. He is honestly on the back of Scuba. It's honestly as if he's not breaking sweat.
Yeah, it looks as though this is just out for a literally jog. I'm not sure if there may be a... I think there may well be promotions in order, because this is quite frankly ridiculous. He clearly has a pace advantage over the rest of the field, but ultimately he's not been pressing that pace advantage, and Scuba still just about leads the way, I think. But Sansu still chasing him down out there. But yeah, not barely using any overtake then. It looks very comfortable to just sit behind and run up behind him. I wonder if we're going to see pit stops though. These tires now for these guys beginning to climb up in terms of weight. They're up towards 50%. Sansu does stay out though, and Scuba coming in noisy behind as well. Matsumo staying out, and so Sansu staying out then, looking to try and press that advantage. He's on the overtake. Is he going to go for a big in-lap and try and jump Scuba through the pit stops maybe?
I think he will, and you've got to realise that LMN will be catching as well. Pit window now open, onto set of mediums onto lap 10 to 13 is the pit window open, just flashing up to the right hand side. Scuba has actually been held slightly in the pit lane there from Noisy passing, so Noisy holds him up slightly. Scuba though is out of the pit lane and he's coming up towards the pit lane exit. Cam in the meantime is on the back of Isotopic, and there's been a crash coming through Village. Cam and Isotopic both in the wall, left side end plate damage, literally flicked on board as they hit the wall. Isotopic and Cam both together. I think Cam Isotopic might have been on the outside line there. Cam was on the inside line possibly, and he's just gone wide to try and take the apex of the corner. And Isotopic's right side end plate, he's in the wall. Noisy is dropped behind Jorg as well, and Scuba is out just ahead of Lemon. So LMN in 12th position, Sway in 13th. If Sansu puts in a really good in-lap here, he could actually jump these guys by a good second or so.
But conversely, he may well drop back if he doesn't get the sectors together. So this is going to be a big lap for the pole set here. Further down the order, the Alfa Romeo swapping, Noisy going through on Jorgen, who drops back, and through goes TDG Noisy. He's got a lot of work then to get up to this group in front now. LMN with Sway just behind, and he just jumped him out the pit lane as the order shapes up there. Scuba's been demoted to last for me. He keeps coming up from first to last, but it's very difficult to commentate on. Sansu's in though, with Matsumo's following. So this is a key moment in the race. Then track position is everything around Silverstone. So these two top level drivers coming in, promoting Alonso to the race lead, who's still driving so well, has a good advantage over anyone behind on those medium tires. 3.3 seconds to the good as it stands for the moment. Then Sansu clean stop, gets fresh tires on, and now powering down the pit lane, of course limited to 60 kilometers an hour. It's going to be close on pit exit. Then Sansu is going to have to wait agonisingly to take off that pit limiter. Now here comes that train now. Element coming through now. He's going to try and get out of the pit lane. He is in front by some margin, I think. I'm not sure where Scuba is. Elemento's a decent way behind. He's out in front now, I think. Sansu jumping to the lead. What an end lap that was, and he's gone straight up into the receipts. It's good. Sansu flying away now. Can he pull out that gap and try and solidify this race lead? Surely he has the pace. The question is though, can he hang on to it? Can he gap it and search for a race win? He's got a penalty though now as well.
He has got a penalty out on track, and I think that was picked up for a 3-second penalty on his in-lap. So that is going to be very costly. Scuba has got no warnings, I don't think, at this stage. Volokongan, in the meantime, is on the back of B. Morgan. The two Renaults are going to be fighting for 5th and 6th position. There are the stops, though. Top 6 still yet to come in. Sansu, though, leading by 0.4 of a second from Scuba in second, out on track, really, in terms of the net lead. Volokongan, in the meantime, is on the back of B. Morgan, and now the Norwegian is going to fly sailing through. Very rare we see an actual overtake around this track here at Silverstone tonight, and Volokongan has just done that on a set of soft compound tyres, and he's still staying out on a set of softs. 10 laps in, of course, he had damage with that Ryan collision early on in lap 1. B. Morgan now is on the back foot from his teammate Volokongan through to 5th. B. Morgan now down into 6th. The Sansu begins to pull that advantage out 7/10 over Scuba.
Yes, Scuba's going to have to work to try and stay within that range. I can see the gap between Sansu and Element, and I can tell you that has been extended on this lap by several tenths of a second. So the pace from Sansu on fresh tyres already beginning to come good. The question is, can he continue to bring that home and pull that gap that he needs? Of course, the penalty still costing him dearly. Scuba looking to be within that range as it stands. Element holding on to that net P3 then. Sway trying to go with him. Then it's the two Alfa Romeo's in behind him. Matt Timos though is lining up a move on York now and looking for the Alfa Romeo. Now the Red Bull driver now still in the championship fight. Double race winning out to the inside lane. Heading into Brooklands. He's going to go brave on the brakes.
So
He's running away. Bit of contact then. I think York had to get out of that one. Matt Timos hard, charging, aggressive move. Gets the move done. He got the elbows and is now up at the 12th of the road, or I should say probably 13th of the road for everyone else. He weaves a little bit then, going into Combs. He's going to maintain the possession though. He's just in that DRS region noisy. Going to have to really work to get within it and hold on to it. Matt Timos fighting for that DRS now. Can he get up to it then? Noisy holding on possession. Matt Timos now flying his way through, 1.1 seconds the gap. I think he's just going to miss out then, and that could cost him. The DRS going to hold back then. Element at the front of the train. Can Matt Timos get with it? You're dropping back rapidly though. The Alfa Romeo has faded greatly in these last few laps.
He has indeed, and Matt Tibbles, of course, is on fresher tyres, so that's probably why Matt Tibbles is making ground. Jorg's just dropping back at this point in the race, but as they get towards each other, they're going to be right on the back towards the end of the race, and it's going to be quite thrilling to watch. Sway's on the back of LMN. Scuba, though, sets a new fastest lap of the race, 1:26.8 out on track from Scuba. He's 6/10 away from the back of Sansu. LMN, though, has dropped like an absolute... he's dropped honestly like a rock off a cliff out on track. Sway in 10th position behind him, but he's 2.4 seconds behind Scuba and 3 seconds off the back of Sansu. What on earth has gone wrong with that car out on track as AJ tries to fight with Carson though for 3rd position? The Canadian and the Brit about to do battle out on track, of course. Still these two yet to pit in. I have a feeling we're going to see plenty more where this came from in terms of this battle out on track as Alonso leads Vettel 2nd, Carson 3rd, AJ in 4th, and AJ very close to the back of Carson, coming through Maggots, then through Beckett. Is he going to have the run down in towards Stowe? I don't think he's going to be close enough.
Yeah, I think Carson's using a bit of battery. He's using pretty much his entire battery, in fact, to maintain that spot. Charging McLaren behind it. I saw that I think Sway was coming under a bit of pressure. Noisy trying to get up the net, and now Spade trying to go in the counter attack, then chasing down Element down the hanger straight, trying to get up to the back of the AlphaTauri, closing all the time towards Stowe, but he's not quite near enough. Has to just bide his time, but Element dropping back, and that's because as Matt Timos as well, he's caught a huge amount, but he's got a penalty now to his name as well. So Sway and Noisy still clean in that train. They are the ones that are in the ascendancy. They are the drivers looking to benefit. But I can tell you now that Element's pace is well off the pack. He has picked up a little bit on the last lap, but ultimately he's not quite been able to make the most of it. Now AJ up the road, they're getting through a Carson. That was an easy one. Through goes to McLaren. Back goes to Williams. The hard tires now coming into play. But as he lost too much time in that battle there, Carson dropping back with a penalty. These guys going to get caught maybe by Volokongan, being Morgan in behind them. They're trying to keep pace on these medium tires. Farther on the road then, Sansu still pulling clear at the front then. Element cannot live with these guys as far as in the road. Caledra on Wesker, easy move then. The Dane moves up in the 14s, but he's got a few seconds to make up the field now, breaking into a bit of a pockets. Wesker trying to get to the inside of the left field. That wasn't I. Caledra gets the place, but only just, and he was lucky not to get turned around then. Caledra moves through, but he's not the race he was hoping for then. Still sitting in the low end of the points there. Wesker tried though to get through, wasn't quite enough.
Matt Tibbles right on the back of Noisy. We've got 3-car train. Sway just beginning to pull away. Just beginning to pull away from Sway. Noisy Matt Tibbles though. Matt Tibbles, I've been impressed with his pace, but now he's in the dirty air on the back of 2 cars in front of him and now needs to get out of that as soon as possible to try and make more progress through the field. Carson's still on the back of AJ further up the field, but Alonso leads more than halfway through with Vettel in second, AJ in third. Good comment there from Spag, already saying that the Dan and James combo was very, very good early on in the stream. Very good indeed to see Lenny, of course, who you commentate alongside in F2, if I'm not mistaken, of an unnamed league, as Alonso leads from Vettel in second, AJ in third, Carson in fourth, Volakongan in fifth. Noisy, though, on the back of Sway, and he'd be looking to try and make some noise and trying to get this position done.
So let's see what he can do then. The Alfa Romeo chasing down the Mercedes up the road then. Sway looks to be rallying though, getting up to the back of Element again, but Noisy has a lot of battery to use then. Sway is personally struggling quite a bit there, but so is Element up the road then. Then he maybe threw everything into getting that gap ahead, and it wasn't quite enough. Coming under pressure yet again, and that fight on track. The 2 Renaults are going at it further up the road. Then Volakongan is still out there. What on earth is a strategy? He's got more than half the race on these tyres. It shows the capabilities of them in terms of stretching out. Is he going for an illegal soft strategy? I'm not sure what's going on.
No,
there.
it'll be because he pitted in early on. There's the yellow flag in sector 2, that's a Haas, I think that's Cam, that's round going through Brooklands and then into Lovefield. B. Morgan though tries to attack right around the outside of Volakongan. Volakongan has already pitted, I do believe, once, so Volakongan then is into the pit lane and Volakongan will be in, and I wonder if he has actually pitted out on track. I'm just trying to see. No, he hasn't, so he's actually going to go, I think, onto a set of mediums to try and get this strategy towards the end of the race. It is a bit of a dire strategy, to be honest, from him out on track, as I have a bit of a failing with my interval timings there. As Vettel now is still in 6th position, he's into the pit lane. Scuba though still on the back of Sansi, 7/10 of a second separating. These guys though have put 3.9 seconds over LMN. It's 4.4 seconds coming across the line, and Scuba still on the back of Sansu. These two are in a different league. They're in Division 1.5, somewhere between Division 1 and Division 2. They're in Division 1.5, I think, at this stage.
Yeah, they've been absolutely flying out there and really establishing and stamping their authority over the rest of the field. Alonso's went to the pit lane. Look at where he's emerged. He's only a few seconds off this train for the podium, and so he's got a real chance. And the question is now, can he make that up? He's got a second in a bit up to Jorg in front, and then he's going to chase down that train. The Bud's got plenty of battery to use. Here comes ASC Alonso now, charging late in the race. Then can the Haas driver last that podium? He's got the facilities to do so. Can he make it work out there and put it to bed for good? Sway still trying to chase down Element coming under pressure, feeling the offences of the Mercedes, of the Alfa Romeo, of the Red Bull, who's still honing in on it from behind. But the move, I don't think it's coming through for Sway. He chases down in the slipstream, gets right up to the rear way, but ultimately it's just not quite enough. Look at Noisy though, the yellow Lucas way to the inside line, couldn't quite get through, had to slow them behind. Sway holding station, these guys holding on to position. AGU's finally coming for the hard tires, another peculiar strategy call in this race. Goes for softs, we'll see where he emerges. He may well be in with a chance of getting through, getting some decent places. He will have some pressure tires on him to try and charge through, but I'm not sure how much he can make of it. This does settle out the race a little bit. Then B. Morgan is disconnected from the session. Oh no!
And that might actually fix your desync, possibly, if he tries to rejoin. Element in 4th, Sway in 5th, Noisy in 6th, Matebos in 7th. Luckily, Scuba is 4.2 seconds ahead of Element when that disconnect happened, but he's going to be losing so much time in that AI mode. He's got to get back in this quick. Look at Alonso on the back of Jorg, and he's actually passed him down into Brooklyn. Really good stuff by Alonso. He is through. We saw Carson move on Callboy down towards Stowe last lap around as well. I saw that on the mini-map. He's through into 13 on a set of softs and be looking to try and make his way through the field. Now Matt Tibos on the back of Noisy, running down in towards Stowe for the 17th time. Out on track, it's B. Morgan leading, Sansu in 2nd, Scuba in 3rd, Element in 4th, Sway, Noisy, Matt Tibos, Alonso, Jorg, Caladre, Wesker, Vettel, Carson, Corboy, AJ, Volakongan, Cam, Ryan, Gary, and Isotopic. I don't know how I got through that within one breath, and here comes Noisy, still on the back of Sway. Luckily, Scuba has rejoined our thing now. Noisy's going to attack, possibly on both of them. Oh, he gets squeezed and he gets boxed in slightly there by Sway. Element just in front of him, but Noisy's around the outside. Now in towards Vale, then in towards Club. Can Sway try and find this around the outside? No, he can't. Noisy is through. Around the outside stuff, and look at Matt Tebos down the inside line coming into Club. And now there's a little bit of switch there from Sway. He has a little bit of a mistake coming out of Club. And now Matt Tebos is going to side on by, coming through. He is through, and he's into Abbey in P6. Sway's still not fighting out, not giving this up without a fight. But Noisy through to 5th. Matt Tebos up to through to into 6th. My timings eventually have now got off, and Sway has just lost 2 positions.
Yeah, but that was spectacular from Noisy. Now moving forward, and Matt Tebos taking full advantage. And Alonso already is almost with them. He is flying along in the Haas and putting down phenomenal lap time. Now, can he see it through out on the track? And maybe, but with a shot of getting that podium. Pete Morgan is still out there at the front of the race, as Scuba has fixed himself. He's back in the lobby. He's now driving for good, and now I can see him out there. This is homecoming good. Christmas has come early here, I think, for the Red Bull driver. Still up for P2, but as he just dropped out of the range that he needed to, the Negrosino Santo, who now chases down B. Morgan, who's making on that pit stop gap in the Renault, draws level down the straight, burned off his entire battery, but it's going to be coming good, and he sweeps into the race lead now. Santo up front. Look at this further down the field, though. I think Noisy is on the offensive again. This one doesn't quite come to an element, but now he is really now stamping his authority. Further down the road, Alonso is now in this train. He has even potentially P2 in his sights. Then if he really hangs it together, he does run a bit wide, heading to a fail. But he has just got time to make these moves. Second, he is now in that train. Matt Tebos is now trying to fight back at Noisy. He's using the opening into Village. Is he going to go early? The Red Bull diving to the inside lightly into Village. They come together, and somehow they are still pointing in the right direction. Matt Tebos risking it all and hungry as ever to claim that 5th place. Coming out there, punching onto the working straight then with the DRS open for the pair of them. Cam down the lobby. That's out the pit lane, I think then. Out the final corner, and as it's full safety car deployed, this changes the race dramatically now, and B. Morgan has a free pit stop. Unbelievable. Sansa now, his lead has been wiped out. Scuba's back in this one more, and this safety car has changed the complete complexion of this race.
Everyone pit in for a set of soft compounded tyres. We are having ourselves the wacky races for the final 6 or so laps out on track. Sansu leading from B. Morgan in 2nd. But this safety car, I think, was needed because the gaps were just beginning to spawn out on track. Cam crashing through the final corner through Stowe. I'm imagining he's got caught on the outside curb and it spun him into the wall. He's left the session. He's the first retirement out on track. It's only taken to lap 19 to actually get a retirement. So well done to everyone for continuing on. But now is the time for everyone to pit in onto a set of soft compounded tyres. Look at who is going to be winning this race, though, possibly. Alonso in 8th position. He's on a fresh set of softs. Vettel, AJ, and Carson are on a fresh set of softs. Everyone else is going to have to come in. How big of an advantage is this for those guys out on track as Scuba stays out?
Yeah, Scuba, and I think we're going to see what the most popular strategy call is going to be. It looks like actually a lot of drivers are staying out and bypassing that pit lane. It's not as busy as we thought, I think, James. Only 3 cars in there for the moment then. Sansa v Morgan Element. I know we're not quite going to get the wacky races, but we may still get a thrilling finale to this British Grand Prix. We'll get a few more cars in there. Ryan Volakongan's actually staying out there. He's going for a better track position. Won't gain as much as I think he would have hoped for. Ryan, Gary, Isotopic, these guys now are back in the race. Scuba, remarkably disconnected, doesn't matter, he leads the way, and in the end it was Santo that took the gamble. He now runs in 13th place. Has he thrown away a potential race victory with one strategy call that's dropped him well down the field?
Well, he does have a 3-second time, but of course Sansusi would have been dropping anyways, I think, on the back of Scuba towards the end of the race. If he stayed out, I've got now a bit of a glitch on my end where Scuba's now jumping up and down the field, which is so bad. I'm getting what you're getting, I think. It's 1.3 seconds apparently the gap. It's definitely not that. Out on track underneath the safety car. We are under the safety car though if you are just tuning in, and this is the time, I think, to grab yourself a big bag full of popcorn, ready for the next couple of laps out on track, and ready for the final 5 laps, I would think, with Gary, Ryan and Isotopic and the like still off the back of the safety car train. You're on the best capable hands. Scuba leading, Noisy in second, Matt Tibos third, Sway fourth and Alonso in fifth. Look at the penalties though. Matt Tibos has got a penalty. Wesker, AJ, Carson, Corboy, Sansu. B. Morgan's got 2 penalties, 6 seconds worth, and LMN has got 3 seconds as well. Everyone else is clean on those tyres and on those penalties so far. Scuba though at a big advantage, but I'm just going to put my attention to that man there in fifth. Alonso in the Haas. He's on a set of soft compounded tyres. He's going to be something like 20% fresher than the guys around him or just in front of him out on track. He should be one of the quickest guys under the safety car stop, but it's one thing to try and get onto the back of a driver, it's another thing to overtake.
Of course, the DRS stream won't build up for a few laps' time. Won't be active for a couple of laps after the safety car comes in. I can confirm actually Alonso's tyres. Yep, you're right, significantly less worn than all the guys around him. He has less, he has a fresher compound as well than a softer compound. So that tells you the charge that the Haas driver is about to go on. He's gone through heartbreak in this championship so far. Can he deliver? Skipper though, he has been through the absolute lot so far today. He had to battle for race victories previously in the season. He's been remarkably consistent. He's not out of this either. And you have to say that no one is, even the guys in the bottom 6, the bottom 7 actually, with fresh soft tyres, they will be flying as well. They will be some of the fastest drivers in the entire field. They will be on the charge. The question is, can they move through? And the only 5 laps it looks like we're going to get. Scuba's going to control this one. Hopefully we don't see scenes reminiscent of last night in EML, but he's going to control this one from the front. Noisy trying to go with him. Scuba, if he times this right, can maybe get a jump then. He can try and pull that gap that he needs. Noisy behind him. The question is, when will Scuba go and how will Noisy react when we get this race back underway?
Scuba's trying to hurry up the virtual Bowman right on track, trying to go around the outside of him coming through Luffield. But Scuba is going to be controlling under the safety car start. And knowing Scuba, his first start's actually Noisy, just takes out the 50-metre board out on track. Just saw the polystyrene fly, lost concentration slightly. He does not want to be doing that under this safety car start. And I would imagine it'll be out of Chapel where we're going to see these safety car lights begin to go out. So Scuba out on top. He will be the virtual Bowman right on track once the safety car lights go out. And we're now on board with him. There he is. The safety car lights are going to go out any second. Now, Scuba out on top. Noisy second. Matt was on there. I had to get that right time. But now Scuba is controlling the safety car. And this is a good pace to keep the safety car. If your name is Joey and you're from IFR, and if your name is Noisy, you need to go into the back of Matt Tibos there, swiving across in behind. This is a really good start, and this is consistent pace coming through. But Scuba leading, Noisy in second, Matt Tibos in third, Sway in fourth, Alonso in fifth, and we're about to get going here at Silverstone. This is the shortest pit lane on the entrance into the pit lane to the safety car. Now, this is where Scuba will go. After that 150-metre board, now he's going to wait, and now he's going to go. Scuba now in towards the final couple of corners, out on track, 5 laps to go. Welcome to the wacky races. Scuba leads, Noisy in second, with Matt Tibos and then we're back on the way, and Alonso's right on the back of Sway already, coming off the line. Caladre, Jorg right in behind, Vettel trying to chase down Wesker, but look at Alonso's pace, right on the back of Sway. I wonder if he's going to go for a move down into the inside into Wood Village. No, he doesn't. He's still on the back, but now tries to go around the outside and toward the loop. Can he try and get the move done around the outside? He tries to switch it back on the inside. Of course, no DRS until lap 24 out on track for these guys, so it has to be done the hard way. It has to be done dirty early, and Alonso now right on the back of Sway, tries to come down the inside line. He's going to have a half commitment, but I think he's going to wait for the DRS. Somebody that's not going to wait for the DRS, though, it's Caladre. Vettel is on the inside line of him. I think Vettel is through, and he's up into 7th, so he's making good ground through the field. Wesker, AJ going side by side, and Bola Kongan is round, coming through Brooklyn, getting caught up, I think, in a little bit of a collision with Arla Elemental Ryan.
Yeah, you can see the air Renault unfortunately dropping to the back of the field. He's in a difficult race now, there's no doubt about that. We're seeing more battles there as Morgan actually going through Sansu, struggles and his damage. I think that's out for Elementa behind it. And now Gary moving through alongside Ryan, sweeping through the outside line, heading into Baggins and Beggins. You can see Element holding these guys back then. The strategy called working against them now as he got caught in that midfield scrap. You can see now they're all queuing up behind it. Guy gets alongside of the travel will come through as now we've got 3 wide, heading down the hanger straight then. Brian trying to sweep all the way round the outside it. Oh, behind his teammate looks the inside line. They almost almost come together, and now he lights up
Isotopic.
Sansu as now Isotopic. Down there, further up the field, he's looking to the inside line of Gary. Doesn't quite come through further up the road there. AGU drumming back, and he ran wide, coming through Club, and then Carson has him lined up to the inside line into Abby. Can he get alongside it through? They come together.
No,
Williams and McLaren spearing off out of the race. Carson into the wall.
Will be VSC.
Out of turn one. That will be a VSC, I think, deployed then.
Yeah.
Indeed it is. That neutralised the race. Chaos then. And I'm trying to process what happened then. Carson went spearing off. Sansu into the pit lane then. After all that, absolute drama, and that's what we expected then from that BSC. Scuba's still in the lead. He's still out there on track for me, but he is in 19th place, it's saying. But he is, his car is still there in the lead. Noise trying to go at him. Scuba up front, and Alonso not making the progress we maybe hoped to see for him then. He challenged his way, he pressured him, but it wasn't enough, and he's running out of time here to make these moves stick.
Yeah, he's just getting caught in the wave of the dirty air, I think, with all of these cars around him. He's got to be on the money, though, to try and get onto the back of Sway. Carson leaving the session there after that collision with AJ. It looked to me as if Carson tried to go for a gap that was inevitably going to close down in towards Abbey, and that's where there was contact, both side by side. I think AJ might have had a slight bit of damage, and he lifted off slightly, and that's where Carson went down the inside. There was contact there. Yellow flag in sector one. Now we're back to green flag racing, and now Ryan is right on the back of AJ, actually, coming out of Chapel. There's yellow flags across all three sectors for me, but anyways, right on the back of AJ. Can he try and get the move done? He'll try and switch to the inside line, try to go around the outside and towards Stowe, but AJ is finding off the pursuer for now of Ryan, and Ryan, I think, got caught up in that little bit of a Constantine who's down the inside. There's contact between them both, and Ryan, and there's contact, even more contact, and Ryan shuts the door on him. AJ is round, and AJ leaves the session in absolute frustration, and why wouldn't you?
Yeah, just a bit of over-ambitious there. I think they came together, banging wheels, and eventually AGU it was that came off first. Ryan moves up, he is in 12th place now, but I think the stewards will be taking a bit of a look at that one come at the end of the race then. Still the race, still emerging then, and Scuba leads the way. Noisy trying to go with it then, Alonso trying to hone in on Sway at that. P2 and 3, P3 battle, P3 and P3 4 battle, I should say. In fact, I'm not even sure if that's right then. I can barely keep track of Scuba jumping up and down the order. I'm still seeing full course yellows, they flicker on and off. This lobby has been absolutely wild so far, but we can't say Scuba still leads the way. Noisy going with him, looks to be sitting in a bit of a trade as it stands, and his DRS will come back into play. And now you can see they're actually pulling clear that this podium fight. Is this going to be what the race is decided by as it stands right now? And the moment Sway struggling to hang with these guys, and Noisy holding down that P2 at the moment. Let's see further down the field. Are we going to see any overtakes? Alonso closing on Sway yet again with DRS this time, but it's not quite enough. He still has to sit in behind and wait. Another Damer coming up now with just 2 laps to go for the conclusion of this race. And Noisy is lining up Scuba. Is it Noisy's day now? With just about 300 seconds left in the race then. Matt Timos, fastest lap of the race. He's chasing down these guys as well without a penalty. He's right in this. We could see another potential Red Bull 1-2, but Matt Timos penalty going to hold back from that. Again, Sway under pressure. Again, Alonso lining him up. Heading into the loop, though he has to remain patient. He cannot quite find the opportunity just yet then. Sway though, big oversteer out of turn 4, 3 entries. That's going to be it then. DRS over for Alonso. Looks to get up and alongside Sway. The inside line is covered to the outside. Alonso's going to go. Can he sweep his way? It's a P4 on the road then. And we go full course yellows yet again. I think that's just a glitch, but they're still battling into Lovefield then. The inside with Alonso. The outside with Sway away. Now for the exit, Vettel in behind, and Jorgen Vettel slowing in, wait behind, looking for the overtake to come through, but Alonso with the overtake this time will get through into P4 eventually. But is he just too far away? The podium runners are breaking clear. Noise is still lining up. Scuba, can he get him last minute? Can Scuba hang on to this?
Scuba can hang on to this, although he's down in 18th position for me, still out on track. Scuba leading from Noisy in second, Matevos in third. We've only got pretty much 6 kilometres from here in. Now, out on track, Jorg right on the back of Sway as well, trying to go all the way around the outside of Stoll. This will be bold, this will be brave, but it's not going to be brave enough. Isotopic right on the back of Gary further down the field as well. But here comes Jorg to the outside line, very late on the brakes running into Volkswagen Club. He's going to have to wait for the DRS. Vettel is not too far with this either. Final lap about to begin. and it's all going to be hell for leather out on track. Scuba leading from Noisy in second, Matt Tibos in third. I guarantee that Scuba is in the lead of this race. Noisy in second, Matt Tibos in third. Matt Tibos has came alive over the last couple of laps. I'll tell you what though, Vettel right on the back of Jorg, trying to get a move done in towards Village, but he doesn't get the move done, and Jorg still in fifth. Vettel in sixth position out on track, or seventh position I should say, out on track. But Scuba still leads pretty much 4 kilometres to go from this point.
Vettel as well, lining up York to the inside line, doesn't quite come through, but he's got more tyre grip, he's got those soft tyres to use. Can he even be lining up a move, try grab that 6th place late in the day? Still, Scuba leads the way, powering now towards for the Danny Ordinate, and then Ryan and Corboy going in wheel to wheel in the end, and then Ryan trying to get through Luffield into 9th place. He gets through and Corboy couldn't quite fight back, then he loses to the inside lane. He's got B Morgan as well for company, for pressure behind it. It's Racing Point Mercedes Mano, and Ryan gets through brilliantly, moving up the order, moving up the field, late in the day, as now Scuba, can he stand this now? He's got a good run with DRS, they can Noisy get this to the dead, no, Scuba's got enough in hand, heading into Snowy, just had enough in the reserve, had enough of a gap for the Downey order. Vettel moving past York last minute, Scuba, he's lagged out the session, he's giving it everything, Noisy's doing everything at him, into the last corner, but Scuba will just by the narrowest of margins, hold on for another race victory. It will not come through in the order. Alonso will at last get on the podium then, jumping P2 in the end, Sway settling for what will be P4, Matt Tibos P5, Justin Vettel, 200ths of a second in it between these guys. 7th goes to Jorg, 8th to Caledra, 9th to Ryan, 10th to Isotopic, Wesker is P11, Corboy P12, Gary P13. I'm having to convert all these positions to account for Scuba, but P14 will go to Volakogan. His teammate B Morgan in behind at 15. Satsu, what could have been, crashes over the line, will settle for 16th place. Element crosses behind 17th. AGU will be the last driver across, and then Scuba's AI car still gleefully going around. And I'm not sure if, hopefully we actually get into the results screen. I think we may have to wait for the entire countdown. But Noisy, Scuba, I should say, with a brilliant win. Noisy threw everything at it, but it wasn't quite enough. The Red Bull holds on for another race victory and a critical extension of that championship lead.
Yeah, Noisy didn't have enough ERS left in the locker to try and get Scuba on the run in towards Stowe, then in towards Bale and Club. He had another go, but not quite close enough, and he had a little bit of a squirrely moment coming out through Club as well. But Scuba wins, Noisy in second, Alonso in third in the end. According to our screen, certainly Vettel just off Matt Tibbles for 6th position by 200ths of a second. AJ's AI car now coming across the line, and now we're going to wait for Scuba's AI, aren't we? Yes, we have to. We have to wait for that leader out on track. Just thought I'd mention as well, what you didn't see, Dan, Ryan had actually got the move done on B Morgan around the outside coming through Brooklands, then down on the switch it to the inside line, going on, I forgot who it was that one, Corboy, getting the move done down the inside. He got 2 for 1, it was like a partner of the Red Sea, going through Luffield. It was a fantastic move by Ryan. He got 9th position in the end, ahead of Isotopic.
Yeah, Ryan, we saw the overtaking masterclass he put on then. I think we catch the full extent of that, but that was brilliant to get those moves done and snatch a really good hold of points. We are going to have to wait for 55 seconds before the countdown is going to render Scuba's car out. Scuba, well, safe to say he drove absolutely brilliantly out there on the road, but his lag issues certainly did hurt us in the commentary box. I don't think he'll be up for an interview, he usually isn't, regardless. I think I'm going to have to add these guys in. Eventually, we'll possibly get Noisy and Alonso in, hear from those guys. They had, of course, brilliant races out there. Alonso as well, fighting back to grab that podium in the end. From 13th on the grid as well, Matt Tibos as well, great drive from 11 to get himself into P5, and was quite well have fought for the win if he'd avoided that penalty. Wasn't quite to be, but Matt Tibos also drove a great race out there. A lot of good driving out there, but in the end, Scuba came out on top. And Sansu, well, you have to say, just going back to the fin, a dominant pole position, dominant middle part of the race, safety car and a bad strategical, settle that out. I think there's a lot to be learned from this race, and oh no, I think we're completely bugged out here, James.
Oh no. Oh my god, no. This is just disastrous. Scuba needs to leave the session immediately so we can get to the results screen. Just seen a load of there's a big snake, by the way. There we are, he's left the session. At last, literally as I said, he's just left the session, but he wins out on track, believe it or not. And the in-game driver of the day is Nobody, by the looks of it.
Oh dear. Oh, this has been a wacky law. But yeah, no one wins driver of the day. How about that? But Perez, your podium asterisk next to that. It's noisy on the top step as it stands. But of course, Scuba did come through with it then. Your podium in the end. Sorry, what's going on, James?
Oh, there we are. I can now see it. It just came up on my screen.
Oh, wow, okay.
That is so strange, honestly. Codemasters, fix your games, and Keeper McGinley, if you're listening, come back, because we need you to fix this game, especially. Put a good word in from us.
Right, well, I don't think there's much point in running through the results after that. I think we ran through them anyway, and first of all, and also they're not correct. But
yeah,
that is it for the British Grand Prix. We'll get. I don't think we'll get Scuba. We'll try anyway. I'll ask around in the Discord chat. We'll see if we can get any of them in when we can maybe get their thoughts after that race. It was a great race to watch. A lot of action out there, but some of the lobby issues certainly put a bit of a dampener on it. Hopefully, it's a bit cleaner next time out. But yeah, I'll be working on getting these drivers in, and just trying to sort out some interviews. But yeah, Scuba wins it. Noisy P2, Alonso at last P3. Great driving from those guys. We'll hear their thoughts after that one. Very strange race, but that's another one in the books then. And now the second half of the season is ahead of us, James.
Yeah, Sway finishing in 4th as well, and that's was 5th, Vettel 6th, Jorgen 7th, Caladra in 8th, Ryan in 9th, Isotopic in 10th, Wesker, Callboy, Gary in the end, dropping well down the field with the championship leader, of course, extending his gap. Bolakongan in 14th, B. Morgan 15th, Sansu, what could have been in 16th. He does get the fastest lap of the race, though, with a 25.3. Element in 17th. HAZI doesn't pick up any points in 18th position. Carson and the other driver, who has eluded my name, Cam, both retired from the session. But that is it for tonight. We are going to wait, of course, for these guys to try and get interviews. Send me a juicy invite. Say it's noisy. I've just seen that in Discord, so we're getting at least one in. Santu saying he didn't know if he had to pit or not. It was a bit of a risk. It was that point in the race where there was a bit of a risk. Everyone could have came in for a set of softs and then really spiced the action up towards the end of the race. And then there would have been a long DRS train out on track. But fantastic to see out on track the racing, and really great to see, of course, the graphics and the task system being put to use as well. IGK Task we thank, Tom we thank as well for the awesome graphics in behind. I'm sure he would look through. Codemasters Savage says I've bring Mike as well.
Well, yeah, well, I think we need to we need to kind of voice our opinion, because one thing that I will say is that we have went through this game for about 7 months now, and we still don't have working graphics for the race stars, which I frankly think is just not good enough. So, yeah, of course, I mean, Codemasters did provide this game for us, but ultimately it's not perfect. Let's be real here. So, we'll
hashtag esports ready. Remember?
Of course, yep, esports ready. Oh dear,
absolutely
dear.
Terrible. Noisy's, according to the task system, it's Noisy's first victory out on track. It's not. It's a second position out on track for Noisy. And speaking of the man, he's just joined the party now. And Noisy, are you here first of all, and can you be heard on the stream?
I think so. I can be heard, because I also live stream myself.
Yeah, Tom's just confirmed that you're live, which is fantastic. Brilliant race from you. It says on the task system you've won. You did finish second, though, with Scuba obviously winning on our screen out on track. Talk us through that race, though, because that was quite wild.
Yeah, of course, at the end with Scuba, it was I really had to watch out, because he was ghosted on my part, because he had, of course, internet issues. I tried it fully sent last lap, had my ERS fully open, but just couldn't get close enough to overtake him. And GG's to him for holding on. He drove amazingly. For me, it was more charge to field. I had an unlucky collision with Coreboy at the start. Went tried to give as much space, even got a warning for it, which really put me at a disadvantage. But yeah, sometimes that happens.
Sometimes it does happen, and yeah, you mentioned about the ghosting there with Scuba. There was a little bit of a moment, I think, between you both where you had a little bit of contact, I think, in the opening laps because of it. But just in that regard, the safety car really saved your bacon, I think, out on track. Finishing second in the end, and must fill you with a lot of confidence going forward.
Yeah, of course, with the bad luck I've had a few races ago, especially the first few races, this is really good confidence boost, and really motivates me to move on and maybe next time get on the top step.
Maybe next time. Maybe next time. Who knows? You might get retribution as well next week, where you might actually win a race compared to Scuba being a ghost in front of you. Dan, any questions for Noisy?
Yeah, I guess the most obvious question for me is about the next race we're going to see in this championship campaign. That is, of course, going to be the Italian Grand Prix at the iconic Temple of Speed at Monza. What are your thoughts on that then? Do you fancy your chances then? Are you confident around that circuit? Do you think you could maybe go even one better than what we've seen this week?
Well, Monza isn't really a track that suits me. It's going to be a lot of DRS trains, so yeah, qualifying is important, and my qualifying isn't really the best. Been improving in that, but yeah, I expect a lot of DRS trains, and maybe it can happen, and maybe the top step, yeah.
Well, I think that's going to be everything to look out for. We're keeping a close eye on you all the way throughout. Thank you very much to you, Noisy. Great race again. Very much congratulations for today. I guess we're going to move on to AC Alonso. We've had you in once for interviews before, so I'm sure we'll just be fine. But just to be clear, can you be heard on screen? Is everything all fine on your end?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Brilliant. Well, safe to say that the last two rounds have been, well, very successful for you, first of all, but I guess rather painful in the way you've been cruelly denied of podiums in both those rounds. What were your emotions running high? Because obviously you went for that alternate strategy after qualifying. Went decently, I'd say, for you, just it was so competitive. So what was it like going for that alternate strategy? Were you confident that you could get a really good haul of points out today's race?
I'm not too sure. I mean, it was a lot about the start to get clean through the first lap, because when you see, I don't know what happened, but exiting turn 4 or 5, there was some madness going on right ahead of me, and I was quite close to picking up 1 wing damage in one incident, so I was quite lucky there. Then it was all about sticking with the soft runners until they pit, and after I got in the lead, the pace was quite good, I think, and then going into the pits, no problems. Although the board was taken out where the line is, so I did not speed, which was obviously good. And then yeah, I came up to Sway, and I was thinking, oh no, now I'm in the train. And despite me having the soft tires, I knew it would be quite difficult. And the safety helped me, of course, because I was able to maintain temperature in the tires better, and then I managed to pass Sway. I didn't know what was going on with Scuba, at least on my screen. He was jumping around from P1 to P19 every few seconds, so I wasn't sure about that.
Same.
And yeah, obviously, great relief after the last 2 rounds where I missed out on the podium. I think last race by 1/10 or something like that, so yeah.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah, definitely. I think you have every reason to. After, of course, that race, you've had a very solid season so far, and this could maybe push you even further up the championship order. I think at the very least you're going to be going inside the top 5, maybe even higher. What do you reckon? What are your expectations for the second half of the season that we're now entering into? Your form's improved. You've been getting better and better these last few rounds. What do you reckon you could achieve then? Do you think that maybe even fighting for some of the top spots then, maybe fighting even for top 3 in the championship? What do you think is possible in these closing rounds?
I think it all depends on the track. Those tracks that last week and today are quite good tracks for me. Italy, it's okay, not the best, but not the worst. But when I look at Brazil and Abu Dhabi at the end, I hate those tracks so much, so I don't think I will be good there. So I don't think I will be fighting for, I don't know, top 3 or something like that on track and at the standings in terms of championship, or I don't know. I don't even know where I was before the race. Somewhere in the top 10, I think. I just look from race to race and see how it goes. I have to improve my quali pace, obviously. I mean, I did manage to do a quite decent lap at the end, but there was so much more potential, front row at least. Yeah, you cannot expect to come P3 when you start 13th every round, so I have to improve on qualifying pace.
We'll see if that comes through. Sunderland boy, do you have anything to add?
Excuse me. It's, I'm shocked by that comment. Maze, I hope you're watching. Yeah, my only question really is looking ahead to next week, the Temple of Speed in Italy. How do you think you're going to get on around there? Because it's 75% fully taken flat out. So you've got to be within the limits of obviously the track. How do you think you're going to get on around there?
Yeah, as you said, the track limits. I quite struggle with track limits in qualifying at least, because I tend to overdrive the car a bit. So yeah, I don't know. You really have to be on the front two rows of the grid to get anywhere near the podium, I think. And a good thing for me is EIS management. I'm quite decent in that, so that's a good thing for me. But yeah, the track, I don't know. I mean, there are worse tracks, but it's not the best track. And racing on this game in the trains where you can't do anything unless the driver does a mistake, it's not really exciting. And at the end, it comes all down to penalties or EIS management. So qualifying is critical. I'm not sure if I will do fine there. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, I had a good result today, so I'm looking forward to next week, nevertheless.
Yeah, Sway's in there in the Discord as well about the battle that you had. Anything to say regarding him and your battle?
Yeah, when I tried to pass him on the penultimate lap, I think, I had yellow flags on my screen, so I didn't know if I should maintain going past him around the outside or if I should stay behind. So I decided to stay behind a little bit, and then luckily green flags came out. I don't know what was going on at the end with yellow flags. The whole track was yellow for me, so I anticipated to get a warning for letting him go because I overtook him under yellow. So I don't know, so I decided to play it safe, let him ahead for the time being, and then I had more EIS I think on the run to cops, so I managed to get the move done.
Yeah, and it was fantastic to watch, of course, but I will go let you go and enjoy your evening, and that is the end then for the stream here out on track tonight as well. And I will cross my final thoughts to Mr. Scottish Boy over there. First of all, what was your thoughts on the race, Mr. Scottish Boy? And second of all, who was your driver of the day?
Thank you very much, Sunderland. I can't do this. No, that's. But yeah, obviously the race. It was a very action-packed race. A lot of great driving on display. Certainly from the drivers was, as always, here in D2, very closely fought all the way through. Obviously, some of the lag issues, I think, made things a bit difficult to cover. But overall, it was still a very good show, as we become accustomed to here in TTML Division 2. And as for driver of the day, I think I'd probably have to go for Alonso, to be honest. And Skip was also a very fair shout, but Alonso came from low on the grid, made that alternate strategy work, and came through and maybe if a few things went differently, could have maybe fought for even the race victory. Then he drove a very good race, and I think he's a worthy inclusion for driver of the day, Sunderland boy.
Thank you, Scottish Boy. And yeah, I honestly think fantastic to see all the great racing out on track. Scuba definitely gets my driver of the day vote. Got to mention, though, really good race from Alonso, really good race from Ryan as well, getting that brilliant move done. 2 for 1, going through 2 corners. Absolutely sensational stuff from both of them. But that is the end for tonight. We are going to stop now with the tirades. I haven't mentioned a certain league tonight either, which is very, very good indeed. So nobody has had to take a shot from my game that I'm now going to be producing pretty much every single commentary that I do if I mention that so-called league. But that is the end for tonight here in Division 2. We wish, of course, Ivan and Mike well. I'm sure he'll be back in the commentary box next week. And tomorrow night, Division 4 and Division 5 are going to be taking centre stage. Division 4 is myself and Paco Suarez. You can't get rid of Sunderland Boy on League Racing TV. And Division 5 is James Boyle taking you through the action for that division as well. Sunday night it is TTML F2, and then we go straight into the action again. CWC on Monday, TTML Division 1 on Tuesday, then TTML Formula 1, EML Formula 1 on Wednesday, got that right in the end, and then Thursday you're alongside Mr. Michael Edwards, who I'm sure is recovering from his voice, and hopefully we're going to be seeing him back in the commentary box very soon indeed. He had a lot of sore throat cough sweets, that kept his voice going, and he couldn't make it tonight, which hopefully he's resting up. I'm surprised he's not in bed yet, to be honest. But there we are. Final thoughts from me. Please stay safe in this crazy world that we all live in. For myself and Daniel Hogarth, please take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Child, don't forget who you are. Don't lose your head or your heart. I bet my life on your star. You'll be dancing, dancing on the moon. I bet my life. You'll be dancing on the moon. I bet my life. You'll be dancing on the moon. I bet my life. You'll be dancing on the moon. Dancing on the moon. Start when you're out on your own, a million miles from home, feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders. Child, don't forget who you are. Don't lose your head or your heart. I bet my life on your stars. You'll be dancing, dancing on the moon.
Somehow I woke up out in Beverly, fucked up, smelling like that bourbon. And I end up alone, I'm not certain. Yeah, the girls impolite in the club every night. That's how it goes when you Hollywood perfect. Hollywood perfect. That's how it goes when you Hollywood perfect. Ain't got no place to call my own. Feels like I'm better off alone. So sad inside and hopeless. These Hollywood hoes never notice. Can't get back on. You're gone, girl, I miss you. Can't get back on. You're gone, girl, I miss you. Somehow I woke up out in Beverly, fucked up, smelling like that bourbon. And I end up alone, I'm not certain. Yeah, the girls impolite in the club every night. That's how it goes when you Hollywood perfect. Hollywood perfect. That's how it goes when you Hollywood perfect.